Hey guys, we're gonna talk about Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Oh god. We're gonna talk about Venom 2. I can't, I can't give it, I can't say the full name because I don't like it. I don't like the title. I never have. Maximum Carnage would have been great, or just Venom 2 would have been fine. But I'm just gonna talk about a few things here. Four things, well not four things, but I've got like four drop downs. I don't know. We're still doing good, bad, ugly, but I've also got one great, which is more of a spoiler. So, you know, once I get there, get out of here if you haven't seen the movie yet, or if you haven't been spoiled on what's going on, with this movie towards the end, as far as the end credit scene. The good. Number one is Carnage. He's in this movie. Like, we've been waiting for him to be on the big screen for a long time, and he's there. That's kind of it, but like he's in the movie, and the action looks great with him. He looks amazing, similar to how Venom looked in the first movie, which I'll get to that in a minute, but Venom looked great in the first movie. Carnage has that same effect in this movie, for me at least. There are a couple moments where it looked kind of, the shading isn't really all that great. Some of the CGI is a little bit shoddy, but overall, he looks fantastic. Voice could have been a little bit better for Carnage himself.
You're going to watch her die. Shut her up for good. Let there be carnage.
But it worked. It worked. I liked it. And I liked what we saw. Number two, good. The action is actually great in this one. It's much better than the first movie. You can actually see what's happening in this one. Even during the nighttime scenes, which there's still a lot of nighttime scenes here. You don't see Venom or Carnage during the day. It's all happening at night, which is always kind of funny. But it looks great. I'll probably credit that to Andy Serkis because he's done so much in the CGI space, obviously with Gollum and whatever the monkey was called in Planet of the Apes. I can't remember. Caesar. I would credit all that to him and just what he knows of that space. Because it looks much better in this movie. Number three, good thing, the length of the movie. It is roughly 90 minutes long and it does not overstay its welcome, which is nice. Change of pace from what we're used to from a lot of recent superhero movies. Doesn't need to take so much time in establishing things, which I think was a good thing, but also somewhat of a bad thing, which I'll get to in a moment. But the length of the movie is fine. You feel like you kind of went through this crazy ride, and when it's over, you don't feel tired. You don't feel exhausted from what you saw. It just does what it does, and then it's over. But that gets me to my first bad. First bad is the story overall. Tom Hardy had a hand in this story, which is a little bit odd because it feels very lazy. The story overall is very lazy. The first one I felt like had a lot going on for it, but it was a lot going on. A little bit too much. This one, it's pretty streamlined, which is cool, but like characters don't really have much to do. And you feel that in certain points. You feel like, okay, these characters, they don't know what they're trying to do. It's just kind of all over the place. They're bringing in characters for different reasons just to have them there, like Anne and her fiance now. It's kind of like, okay, they didn't need to be here. The character of Shriek, which is a character that Cletus Cassidy is in love with, which I believe he only calls her Shriek one time. Her name is Frances. They're in love. That's a whole kind of Bonnie and Clyde situation with them. And they cause carnage throughout the city in like two places. Even their dynamic was weird because you want to know more about them. And one, how she has mutant powers, because she even says something about her mutation. How does she have mutant powers? How is she a mutant? They don't even go into that. How does Cletus biting Eddie Brock and then pretty much going through the process of being executed in prison create carnage? Like, there's just all these things. Why is it called Carnage? Like, they don't really go into all that. They're just like, hey, Carnage is here. Have fun. Watch the movie. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot of explanation for a lot of the things that happen in the movie, which is unfortunate. And you can feel Spider-Man missing more so from this one than the first one. The first one, I feel like they did a good job of making Venom his own thing. And this one, I felt like Spider-Man was almost needed because you have Carnage, who is a big character in the Spider-Man universe, very popular, and you have him here fighting Venom. But it just didn't really work out that well. And they changed a lot of things as far as the relationship between Cletus and Carnage, the symbiote itself. They changed some things there to make it work in this movie, and it's really it's a little bit of a bummer. Number two, bad, the tone. This, again, feels like another 2000s movie. They go full wacky in this one. The first one, though, I felt had a better idea somewhat of what tone was going for. It was still all over the place, but it felt a little more grounded in that it knew what it was trying to be. This one, it goes all the way wacky. It really does focus on the relationship between Venom and Eddie, which I think is good, but just kind of loses its flair towards the middle, I guess, like closer to the middle. Like in the beginning, it's kind of cool to see what's happening, but I like the horror flavor you get in the first movie, having this unknown symbiote connected to you and telling you what's going to happen. That was cool. And this one, now they're just kind of, it's more of a buddy comedy, but also like a relationship type comedy, like a romance between these guys. I couldn't tell if it was more of like a music duo type relationship, like, like a Simon and Garfunkel, or in some cases, Ike and Tina relationship in this movie. But I couldn't tell if it was like that, or if it was like a gay relationship, because there's moments, there's the one scene where Venom even says, I'm out of the Eddie closet. And so that kind of gives you an idea there. He's at a rave, which is all crazy. But it goes back and forth with that. So I was really confused. Like, is this a gay relationship, or is this more of a, duo where they just know they have to be together? Kind of like a music duo. They know when they're together, their music is great. When they kind of do their own thing, it doesn't really work that well. Is that what it is? They keep talking about being the lethal protector, which, in the comics, that's kind of a direction that it goes. And it ends that way, essentially. But they're trying to find themselves in each other. So it's a weird relationship. It really is weird. I was wondering where they were going with the story, because it kind of hints at different things throughout. A little bit odd. But again, the tone is very 2000-esque. Not to say that it has to be like a grounded film like what DC has done or what Marvel has done in some of their movies. Not to say that it has to feel like those. I wanted it to feel different, but I wanted to understand what the tone is and what it's trying to kind of achieve with this theme. And here it's like, okay, it does highlight Venom and Eddie's relationship and how they are, connected, and they're better connected than Cletus and Carnage, but you don't really feel that until really the very end, like the end fight scene. It kind of shows you that. So I was a little bit let down from that. As far as the ugly, I would say the characters, really the side characters. I didn't care about anybody. They were going about this movie like a Spider-Man film, having Anne, Michelle Williams' character, get captured and or kidnapped, and this whole thing, which things always happen to Spider-Man's family or friends, or Mary Jane, and in most cases they were trying to do the same thing here, and it just didn't work because I don't care about anybody. It's just they haven't really established people or these characters in a way where I connect or really care. It's just weird. Also, I can't decide if the first movie is better or if the second movie is better. It's like a toss-up. They're both bad. They're both bad movies. Both movies have an end credit scene or mid credit scene that make you excited for the next potential movie. And I'll talk about that in a little bit here for the spoiler, but I can't decide. I might have to go with the first movie just because it felt a little more streamlined, even though that it's still wacky, but it's not as wacky as this one. And I like the horror aspect of the first movie over this one, because Venom doesn't look as good to me in this one. Carnage looks great, but I felt like Venom looked better in the first movie. Here it's kind of like, All right, so here's the great. And again, this is a spoiler, big spoiler for the end credit scene or mid credit scene for Venom 2. I'm not calling it its full name. Venom 2, the one great thing, it's a spoiler on the mid credit scene. If you have not seen it, or you haven't seen anything about it, or you haven't been spoiled, or you haven't read anything about it, get out of here before I say it, because I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. Venom is in the MCU. Sort of. ... Because at the end of the movie, Eddie pretty much is on the run because the police are looking for him from a whole scenario in there. So he and Venom are on the run. They're on like an island, and they're in their little room watching a Spanish television show, Telemundo probably. And then Venom pretty much talks to Eddie, saying how he's got millions of years of knowledge of the universe, and pretty much that they know of other universes just because of it's a hive mind as far as the symbiotes. And so they share all their information. He's like, I'll share some with you. And he starts to share some with them. And, he kind of, Eddie is kind of shaking a little bit there. And he's like, whoa, what's going on? And then the room changes. It almost had like a ripple effect, of a change. And he's in a different room, a different hotel room on like a beach. It looks like he's in someone else's room. It looks like he's been teleported. And then on the TV, you see J. Jonah Jameson doing the news piece that he does in Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home, saying how Peter Parker is Spider-Man. You see Tom Holland there with his mask off, kind of standing there looking around, and they kind of see him. They're like, ooh, what's up? And so now he's in the MCU now. And I wonder if he's going to show up in Spider-Man No Way Home and then find his way back to his universe, or if he'll stay. Who knows? It seems like the Sony-Disney partnership is spreading a little bit here, which is, I like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's the best part of the movie. Again, Carnage is great, but I was watching this movie to see the end credit scene because I knew it was going to be something related to Spider-Man. So my hope is that in No Way Home, something happens where the symbiote latches onto him for a little bit, gets off of him, but then when he becomes Venom again as Eddie Brock, he'll have the spider symbol or something to that effect. That would be awesome. So that way in Venom 3, whatever that's going to be called, you have that, and it's great. Side note, there is a character, Stephen Graham. He plays Mulligan. He's the police officer from the first movie and this one. Again, spoiler territory still, so be careful. He becomes something, because at the end of the movie, you think he dies, but then he opens his eyes and says, monsters. And his eyes are blue, the color of Shriek's eye almost. So I wonder if he's going to have, like, Shriek-type powers, because in the comics, he becomes another symbiote, but there's nothing that happens in the movie where you see something latch onto him or something change him. It's weird. Again, it's a 2000-esque type movie because things are just happening. There's no explanation and you don't care about anybody. Same scenario as the first movie. The end credit scene is the best thing about this film, so if you want to spend an hour and a half to go see one less, maybe about a minute or a 45-second scene, then yeah, go ahead and do it. It's pretty cool. But to know what could happen from it is pretty awesome. But yeah, as far as the movie itself, it's not great. But if you do check it out, let me know. If you have seen it already, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm interested in people's thoughts because some people think it was great. They liked it, thought it was better than the first one. I, for one, don't know where it falls because both movies, in my mind, are pretty bad. So it's a little bit tough for me. But I'd be interested in you guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Let's chat about it. To my hyper crew, Brian Tidwell, Steve O, Slepnear, K6013, Dash Milner, Daniel Lopez, Jonathan Cedarland, and Kratos. Thank you guys so much for choosing that top tier crew. To all my members and subscribers, thanks so much for supporting the channel and supporting me and what I do each and every day. I really appreciate you guys. While you're still here, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. It does help out the channel, helps me know exactly what you guys want to see more of. You can also check out our most popular videos on the channel and our most recent reaction as well. Overall, hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys on the next one.